Hey friends, welcome back. My name is Kim, and this video is going to be a book review video of The Conjoined by Sookfong Lee. I found this book very haunting, honestly. I finished it I think a few weeks ago at this point, and I haven't stopped thinking about it. And normally when I feel that way about a book, that's normally my sign that I should be making a little dedicated video to talking about the book, and hopefully spur others to read it as well, with a whole bunch of caveats. All right, so within this one, we follow Jessica, and her mother had recently passed away. And when they were cleaning out her home, they discovered two deceased girls in her mother's freezer, deep freezer. And immediately, Jessica knew that these were the two girls that went missing from 1988, and her mother, they were fostering them. So they were two foster girls that were living with them for a period of time. They stayed with them for, I think it was a couple of weeks, 6 weeks, and then disappeared. And everybody assumed that they had ran away. This is a really layered and complex story. Has two timelines, one set in the present day with Jessica, and we're following along with her as she's navigating one, trying to figure out what happened and who her mother was and how these two girls came to be in the freezer. And then we also get the past timeline from a few different perspectives, but centered around the two young girls. Both timelines, though, had my full attention. I was engrossed the entire time. After the first two chapters, the first chapter is present day, or first part present day, second part is in the past. And immediately after reading both of those timelines, I was like, I need to know what happened. Like, I was just absolutely engaged with the entire story. There's lots of aspects with this that I think is important to know going into this before you pick it up. And one of those things is that this is not a very clean, tidy mystery. The mystery aspect of this, like Jessica discovering the two foster girls, Casey and Jamie, is really the catalyst for the rest of the story. The mystery aspect is established in the first couple of chapters and isn't really touched on again throughout the rest of the story. It's very focused on Jessica, Casey, Jamie as characters in both separate timelines and people who surrounded Casey and Jamie. This was at times extremely depressing, unsettling, dark. This is not a book that I would widely recommend to anybody to pick up. There is some really dark content in here, so do look up content warnings or just get a better understanding on Storygraph. Storygraph is a great place to figure out the content warnings or any sensitive subject matter that are in books before picking this up if it interests you. So one of the main characters that we follow is Jessica, and that is Donna's daughter. Jessica is a social worker, and she's a character who had an idea of what her life was, who she was, who her mother was, and just had an understanding of life itself and how she fit into everything before the discovery of the two girls. Once the two girls are discovered, it just triggers this entire identity and self-crisis in her, and we follow along with her as she's trying to navigate that. This identity crisis and crisis of self and her own understanding of everything really involves her job, her life in general, her relationship, her mother, her own identity, what it means to be good, and also her own profession that she works in. Casey and Jamie were the two young girls, and we do hear from their perspective. Not necessarily, I don't remember if it's directly from them, but we do hear from people within their life. So we hear from their mother, their father, people surrounding them, and I believe also themselves too, but I'm a little foggy on that. But regardless, the past timeline, you almost really get to know what led up to them getting into the foster system. I thought that the part two, where we get the past timeline for the first time, we actually hear from their mother, and that was really a sad chapter to read because it was somebody who, their mother, who was just trying her best, just doing the best that she could to provide for her kids, thought she had all of her bases covered, thought she was doing everything right, and it still wasn't enough. Then we have Donna, Jessica's mother, and she is somebody who went about her life promoting being a good person. She wanted to be a good person. She did good things. She tried to make sure everything she did was rooted in inherently just being good, doing the right thing, being a good person. And so Jessica grew up with this same mindset, like trying to be good, do good, and you'll be good. And you'll be okay. Everything will be okay. And really, her entire world is just rocked when obviously she makes this discovery. And Donna's background as well, coming to know that was very interesting as well. It just, all these different character perspectives that were incorporated in the story added to everything going on in such a way that just kind of like painted a very complete picture. And that's why I think like the mystery element of it, while it's not very tidy, it's not, you know, all the loose ends aren't tied up or anything like that, but I almost felt okay with it because I felt like I had a really good understanding of what happened, how it could have possibly happened, all the different players that contributed to this tragedy, and, you know, all the contributing factors as well. I found that in both timelines, regardless of the perspective, I found the writing to be very intimate and all the characters were very fleshed out. And this is under 300 pages as well. And for Sookfong Lee to write each character perspective in a way where it really comes to life. Each person is very individual from each other. Each character serves a purpose in this entire thing that had happened. There's a lot of themes about social heroism, being a good person. There is a character in here, Jessica's boyfriend, who comes across as a little bit righteous at times, like a little self-righteous. And I think he's a necessary character to have in the story, and especially a necessary character for Jessica's development, and also kind of taking a look at herself, kind of taking a look in the mirror, and if she feels that she's a good person, and also those themes about just being inherently good and what that all means. There's also themes around how the past shapes us, but then also haunts us and tends to follow us no matter where we go. I just think that this story had so much complexity, a lot of nuances. Sookfong Lee does not do any hand-holding. You are left to piece things together, and I think that it was very refreshing to read this in that way, because I do sometimes find, depending on the book that I pick up these days, there is a lot of hand-holding that authors do sometimes. And so it was nice for me just to sit with everything, dwell in it a little bit, piece it all together on my own. And despite, again, it not being neat and tidy with a little bow, I didn't need it. So yeah, excellent story, but heartbreaking and dark, and all the things that I wouldn't recommend reading on a nice casual Sunday morning. I'm still turning this book over my head, even though it's been 3 weeks later and I've, you know, jotted down my thoughts and tried to compile my thoughts best I could about it, but still turning it over, still thinking like, should I mention this? Should I not mention this? But I wouldn't say that just because it's under 300 pages, it's a quick read. I wouldn't say that at all. I think it's definitely a story you want to kind of like sit with and read slowly. I say that it's under 300 pages because all the layers and the complexities that Sookfong Lee had incorporated in the story, I think was just really well done in that amount of pages. I'll link some articles down below that talk about this book and review this book a little bit further too, because they touch on some things potentially that I maybe have not touched on or just can't quite put into words as effectively. So check those out. If you're interested in reading this book, that's wonderful. Again, take care of yourself though beforehand. Make sure you're in a good headspace, and obviously look at content warnings beforehand. If you have read this book, or if this book is on your radar, feel free to comment down below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts were on it, and if it is on your radar but you haven't read it yet, how you feel about it being on your radar now that you've watched this video and have heard my thoughts. Is it still on your radar? Does it make you more eager to pick it up, or does it kind of make you like, oh, maybe that's not what I want? Feel free to comment down below, but thank you very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying what you're reading, and I will see you in the next video.